Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Steve Waite, and I'm pleased to be your MC for this afternoon's Sydney Hills Business Chamber lunch. Special welcome to Castle Hill RSL. Thank you for hosting us this afternoon. Elliott Clarke, Senior Economist with Westpac. We'll hear from Elliott a little bit later on about his thoughts on last night's budget. Obviously, a welcome to the rest of the Westpac team who are here with us today, our partners, and of course all our members and their guests this afternoon.
Given the budget that we had last night, I guess we're really interested in hearing from Westpac's Senior Economist Elliott Clarke about how it's going to impact us and I guess the economy in general.
Australian economic growth has been quite soft over the last sort of 7 to 8 years. We did get through the GFC quite well. We'd have a significant amount of support from the mining investment boom. But domestic demand, so that's consumption and investment outside the mining sector, has been quite soft, and that's been the real concern, I guess. Though we didn't see a particularly marked deterioration in the labour market after the GFC, the consumers did remain much more cautious, and that's really a function, as we'll see, both of sort of an absence of really strong employment growth, as well as also the balance sheets that Australian households have. For those small businesses that are not incorporated and therefore can't benefit from that, there's an additional tax credit up to $1,000 to basically try and counteract the fact that they're not incorporated. And so that's obviously a key saving in terms of giving more cash to the business and improving sort of profitability as well. The key measures that have really been announced are around sort of what's happening with Social Security, in particular pension asset tests, and also what we're seeing in terms of, I guess, what they're calling integrity of welfare, which is basically making sure that people who really need help with regards to sort of childcare and also additional services that are provided actually get that, and others who can arguably afford to not actually need to have that, well, they don't necessarily get that anymore. So coming off the GFC, there was a definite concern amongst households that they basically perhaps had gone too far with leverage. They needed to actually improve their financial situation to try and actually get into a more comfortable situation. So what they've been the focus in is they've been basically trying to repair balance sheet and save money at the same time, not actually choosing to go out and spend money sort of on marginal consumption. Now, this graph's actually in per capita terms is basically trying to highlight what the marginal consumer has actually been doing in their spending. And as you can see, all but New South Wales, it's been pretty weak.
The $20,000 immediate write-off of a bit of equipment, does that apply to a piece of equipment that must be less than 20, or could it be the first 20,000 of a somewhat larger piece? I'm just seeing the difference between a $19,999 and $20,001.
The item has to be less than $20,000. If it is worth more than $20,000, then it can be depreciated at 15% of the first year and 30% thereafter. But if the value drops below $20,000 in that time, then in that year it can be completely immediately expensed.
You mentioned that you really like to see the dollar down to 70 cents and things like that, but how really likely is that? For that to happen, surely we have to see a lot more growth in the rest of the world, more confidence of what's happening in the rest of the world. In large part, what we're seeing in terms of the developments with the Australian dollar has been around sort of what's been happening in the US. That's generally the sort of the key counterfactual for the Australian dollar.
Just wondering on the definition of business confidence and whether there's data that exists on regions and industries, and there's an SME base that we've got here. So world economy is all great, and national budgets are important, but do you have that level of granular detail on what the confidence level is in this segment and maybe within a region?
Yeah, sure. So we do get a stratification between sort of large businesses and small businesses on that quarterly basis. So the survey I show was actually the NAB Business Survey, which I think has about 3,000 respondents across the country.